Hello everyone, my name is Larry Weiss and I serve as the chair of the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination Committee. Today I want to discuss the differences between the two versions of the self-assessment examination that are offered. I want to dispel any misunderstandings that you may have regarding these options. Let's begin. Beginning with the 2023 examination, ASSH offers one test that is currently called MOC/CME and another test that is called CME Only. Prior to 2023, the test was solely administered where the examinee filled out a scoring sheet, submitted answers with a finalized verification, received a score, and then received an answer key to reveal the correct answers as well as a commentary regarding the question and subject matter highlighted with each question. This testing format was necessary due to requirements for board certification to provide a scored test that was compliant with MOC based on the accreditation program for self-assessment examinations. This version has the disadvantage of not providing immediate feedback on the correct answer with the associated commentary, as it requires the examinee to go back through the examination a second time after receiving the answer key in order to learn from the test and go over incorrect answers. This version of the test is currently offered as an MOC/CME version. For many, this style of testing has been deemed less desirable for achieving immediate learning from each question. For this reason, and because an MOC-compliant examination is not needed every time an examinee takes the examination, another option has been made available that is currently known as the CME Only test. This format of testing allows you to submit each answer response and receive immediate feedback regarding the correct response, followed by an immediate reveal of the answer commentary. This provides a learn while testing experience, which I personally feel is a more effective and positive way of accessing the examination. Now, the MOC and CME version are 100% identical in every way with respect towards the questions and commentary. They're just different in terms of when the correct answers and commentary are revealed to you. Both versions of the MOC/CME version and the CME Only version both provide 20 credit hours of CME. Now I would like to discuss the various board requirements for self-assessment examination submission so you can understand the need, or in some cases perhaps lack thereof, for a version of the examination that satisfies the self-assessment component of MOC. A further understanding of the requirements for each parent board should assist you in deciding which examination you may choose. Please use the QR code to go to the ASSH landing page on maintenance of certification for additional details on this subject, or consider going to your parent board landing page to look at your MOC timeline. The American Board of Orthopedic Surgery has a requirement for recertification that each diplomate submit one 20-credit MOC-compliant scored self-assessment examination for years 1 through 5 in the MOC cycle, and then one additional 20-credit MOC-compliant scored self-assessment examination for years 6 through 10. This means that if you are someone who takes the examination routinely, you only need to choose the MOC/CME version of the ASSH self-assessment examination once every 5 years to submit a self-assessment examination that is compliant with MOC as a self-assessment requirement. Therefore, you're free to consider taking the CME Only version of the self-assessment examination for the other years, as it is necessary only once during this period to have the MOC/CME version of this test. Now, for each 5-year cycle of the ABOS MOC, a diplomate must submit 120 orthopedic-related CME, of which 20 of the credits needs to be the aforementioned MOC-compliant scored self-assessment. Please know that the CME only version of the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination, which provides 20 credits of CME for each year that you take it, does partially satisfy your MOC cycle through further acquisition of CME credits. So, for myself, as an example, I'm someone who takes the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination every year, and I'm board certified through the ABOS. So I plan to use the CME only version so I can learn as I go while I am testing for 4 of the 5 years, and then take the alternate MOC CME version the other year. Just by me taking the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination each year, 100 of the 120 credits that are required for CME can be acquired in support of my recertification. The American Board of Plastic Surgery offers an annual online 30-question self-assessment examination, which is compliant with its MOC cycling. Each diplomate is required to take 4 of these examinations for each 5-year cycle. During the 5-year plastic surgery MOC cycle, 125 hours of plastic surgery CME credits are needed for submission. Considering the fact that the board administers its own MOC-compliant online self-assessment examination process, I do not believe that it is required for those certified through ABPS to even consider the MOC CME version at all. I therefore encourage these examinees to consider exclusively using the CME only version when taking the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination. I would suggest that you seek further clarification from ABPS as to whether the MOC CME version of the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination can substitute for part, if not all, of the annual online ABPS 30-question self-assessment examination requirement for MOC. So in summary, I recommend that plastic surgeons certified through ABPS utilize the CME-only version of the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination. At this time, the American Board of Surgery continuous certification process requires each diplomate to earn 50 self-assessment examination credits of the 150 total CME credits that are required. A general surgeon self-assessment examination registration continues to be offered by ASSH and has traditionally been utilized by ABS diplomates. I would suggest that you seek further clarification from ABS as to whether the CME-only version of the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination can be used for CME credit submission as part of the ABS continuous certification process. Access to the CME passport through ABS website may assist in this process. So in summary, I would encourage those certified through ABOS and ABPS to preferentially consider the version of the test currently known as CME only for what I consider to be an enhanced learning conducive environment for the ASSH Self-Assessment Examination. To reiterate, the CME only version of the test provides an immediate reveal of the answer and commentary while you are taking the examination. Therefore, you will not have to go through the examination a second time using this option. For those who were certified through ABOS, I advise accessing the version of the test currently known as MOC CME once every 5 years to submit a scored self-assessment examination that is compliant with MOC requirements. This version of the test is a traditional format where you will need to go through the examination a second time after submitting your answers and receiving a score to review the questions and commentary revealed post-examination. For the other years in the 5-year cycle, I recommend accessing the CME-only version of the test. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that this video helps you to better understand the differences between the two versions presented.